And so obviously I also watched Tangled as well.
Tangled's a really good film.
Yeah, I enjoy Tangled. It's decent.
Because I've started sort of trying to rewatch, or even just watch, like, all the animated classics of Disney. Just because as an animation sort of guy, I feel like I probably should. And a lot of them I've never seen.
Yeah.
And so far, Tangled is probably my favourite one that I've seen of them.
Thing is, the first time I watched Tangled, so this is the second time I've seen Tangled. The first time I watched it, I enjoyed it a lot more than this time.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, I don't know. Like the first time I watched it, it didn't make me cry, you know,
It got to you.
It got, you know, there was a lump in my throat.
Yeah.
Whereas the second time around, I was just like, oh, whatever. I just like...
Don't care anymore.
It's not that I didn't care, it's just like, oh, I know the ending. So that sort of ruined it for me. Not ruined it for me, but it's just made that moment, that specific moment that I'm sure everyone who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm now trying to remember what moment you're talking about.
I mean, it's quite an important moment.
I imagine it is.
Shall I just say and then you can cut it out?
I mean, yeah, you can just tell me off camera. Off camera? Just... Yes, right. I know that moment. I've only seen it once, and it was a little while ago.
But what I did want to just say is we slag off Disney a lot. But I don't think we compliment Disney enough.
I would like to clarify, I don't hate Disney content necessarily. I hate them as a company more than anything.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of talented people working for Disney who are fine and have no role in the way the company's run and are just doing their job and doing it very well and making some great films.
Yeah,
but I hate the company itself. I do want to make that clear.
Yeah, but we don't highlight that. Whereas we're very, very quick to highlight the poor ethics of Disney.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just some of the animation, like the talent, is incredible. I think. And Tangled, especially, like the detail of the hair, is incredible. And like, obviously, like the whole thing is about hair, but they really, really went for it, and it's just like the hair. You know, the texture, the way it moves, like it's got this very real quality, and it looks incredible for animation. It's like that. It
reminds me of when they made Frozen. There was a lot of videos going around showing like the sheer effort they put into like modelling realistic snow physics.
Yeah,
and like they get all this snow into like whatever studio, and they'd spend ages like sort of, you know, applying various forces to it and doing various things to try and work out exactly how it moves in all sort of scenarios, so they can model it perfectly. And I think they probably did something similar with the hair. And I think it is great, that sort of level of detail and effort they'll put into that.
But it's like, I know this isn't really a fair comparison because they're completely different media, but they are doing sort of the same thing. I remember, you know, when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. Yeah. Everyone shat the bed about how amazing the graphics were on that, and then rightly the graphics are incredible. But you know, specifically the hair, like each hair is like individually rendered or something, and it's like obviously that's amazing, but I feel like, you know, Tangled did that 10 years ago.
Yeah. Although there is the argument, of course, that to do it in a video game is in some ways a lot more difficult, because in a film you have only specific shots to do. On a video game, you sort of have to have it work all times and on a home machine. Yeah, and account for like how it might, you know, every possible situation when the film is like, oh, it's only ever going to do these things, for example. We only have these scenes planned. Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to say like those things are very good about it, and you can see like even the difference between. I know Tangled and Inside Out are different, aren't they? Because one's Disney Pixar and one's just Disney.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
But even between them, which I think is 6 years, is it 5 or 6 years, maybe a bit more?
Yeah. So Inside Out was 2015. I think Tangled was certainly 2009 or 10. I think.
Yeah. Just looking it up quickly, 2010 it was. Yeah, so 6 years.
5 years.
5 years. Nailed it.
Great maths.
Yeah, quick maths. But you know, the difference in the, like looking at the, say on Riley, the little girl in Inside Out, like, again, the incredible hair detail on her they're just getting better and better and better, and it's like, I mean, as much as we hate it, look at the most recent Lion King. Although that's, well, is it different? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it'll work differently because it's, as opposed to being animation, because it's live action. But they'll have to model it in a different way. Yeah, I mean, that is, I suppose,
Nick, they actually caught a load of lions and trained them. They managed to teach. Believe. Yeah, they managed to teach like 5 lions how to speak English. For some reason, they've all got American accents
and sound identical to some really famous celebrities.
Yeah,
actors.
Yeah. Well, you see, James L. Jones had a direct connection with his lion. Like every day, he'd just talk to it until the lion picked up his voice.
Didn't one of the actors for the role actually undergo surgery to become a lion, as I recall?
Yeah, that was Donald Glover.
That was it, Donald Glover, yeah. What a great sacrifice. I mean, that really is someone just giving their life completely for a role.
I mean, he's been poached now, so he's not in anything else. But
I mean, he had a good run, had a really good career.
Yeah, really good 300-metre run before the rifle went off.
Oh. That's how it is,
Such a shame. Christ. Can you keep that in?
Of course I'm keeping that in.
Okay.
Before we finish this topic,
yeah,
Tangled or Frozen?
Every fibre in my being is saying Tangled, but
there is a correct answer here.
Thing is, when Frozen came out, I saw it. I thought it was okay, and then the bigger and bigger it got, the more and more I hated it. Like, I haven't seen that film since, I don't know, 2015 maybe, 2014, when did it come out?
It came out in 2013, right on the tail end of it, I believe.
Okay, probably 2014 then.
Okay.
Whereas, obviously, I watched Tangled last week, so...
So recency dictates Tangled.
Yeah. I just want to say Tangled, like, I remember enjoying Tangled a lot more. I feel like Tangled's got a lot more charm to it. And I feel like that's almost entirely to do with Zachary Levi, who plays Flynn Rider. I just don't know, I feel like he's brilliant in that.
Yeah.
Whereas in Tangled, there's so much of it that I absolutely despise.
Do you mean Frozen?
In Frozen, there's so much of it that I absolutely despise, almost entirely encapsulated by Olaf.
Yeah.
I just don't think I like Josh Gad at all.
Did you like him in Book of Mormon?
Well, I mean, when I saw Book of Mormon, it wasn't Josh Gad, so...
Oh, that's a good point. Okay. But you haven't listened to the original soundtrack then?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But I saw him, in the Beauty and the Beast remake. He's in that as well.
Oh, is he?
And I find him just unbelievably irritating. I hate his voice so much, and I just find nothing he says funny. Olaf is so incredibly annoying. It just makes me hate it. I feel like the song in Frozen is nowhere near as good as everyone is cranked out to be. And the songs in Tangled are okay, very forgettable, I think.
Yeah,
but at least they're not overrated. Massively, massively overrated.
And I mean, you are correct. With Tangled is the better film.
I do think so.
Believe. I think the thing is, Frozen was to me felt, because I have seen it, and it just felt really generic. Like, as I've said before, I think if it didn't have Let It Go, I think it would have been, it would not be anywhere near as famous as it was without that one song. But I think you caught on something there of Olaf, and I think that's a big part of it. Is the sort of the comic relief in Tangled is between sort of Flynn and the horse. I can't remember the horse's name, but the horse is silent.
Galahad? Is that what the horse is called? No,
sure.
No,
you've seen it more recently.
Yeah, and I can't remember.
I think having silent comic relief characters in the past have been like a really winning formula. Like, think of like Gromit and Wallace and Gromit. And it reminds me of that.
Maximus is what the horse is called. Sorry.
Okay, and there is that moose in. Is it a moose in Frozen?
Yes.
Like, which sort of tries to do the same thing, but it just doesn't.
A reindeer. Is he a reindeer? Removed?
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's probably a reindeer. But like, so they're sort of going. They almost feel like trying to recapture that in a way. And I know they've got what's his face in Frozen, who's also supposed to be the equivalent of Flynn, but isn't anywhere near as hasn't got enough of the personality to really reflect that.
I feel like, again, I mean, does that come down to the actor or is it the writing, do you think? Because do you know Zachary Levi?
Not much, no.
Have you seen Chuck?
Chucky?
No, Chuck.
Chuck, no.
The series Chuck.
I have not.
No, because he's in that and he's brilliant in that. So I was obviously, I was a massive fan of Chuck, which I knew before I saw Tangled, which is genuinely one of the only reasons I actually saw Tangled was because he was in it. And I think he's my favourite part of it. Him and the chameleon. I love the chameleon.
Yeah. I think as well, so the thing is, so if you think about like in Frozen, the main dynamic that the film hinges around is like Elsa and Anna.
Yeah.
But they're not actually together for a lot of the film.
No.
And like the other characters are all relatively secondary and not as well developed. But we spend most of the film with them, I feel. So it just never really has that one. And like in Tangled, where like Flynn and, do you say Maximus?
Maximus, yeah.
And like Rapunzel and all that are there together. Like they're always there together as this core group.
Yeah.
So we have much more chemistry and characterization. We get more involved with them because we're always with them together and getting that back and forth.
Also, in Tangled, the villain, the mum, I can't remember what her name is.
Yeah. Mother Goss something.
Yeah. But she is...
Gothel, that's it.
Yes. She is so, like, evil. She's so horrible. And she's so manipulative and awful, you know. And she's so selfish and, like, twisted all of what Rapunzel says. And it's like, oh, she's an arsehole. Yeah. Whereas she's such a good villain in that.
Yeah,
whereas in Frozen, I can't even remember the villain's name.
Well, of course, the famous problem with Frozen is it's one of the many twist villains that Disney have been doing recently. Yeah. So instead of having, like how they always did was have this very iconic villain who's always a villain throughout the entire thing. And so they get their, like, the full length of the film to sort of shine in their sort of dreadfulness.
Yeah.
Frozen, along with things like Zootopia and Moana to a slight extent, have done this thing where they don't reveal their villain until basically the third act.
Yeah.
And therefore their villain isn't memorable, isn't developed. You know, outside the one scene was like, oh, it was them.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, has no other impact at all besides that.
So I feel like things that's not necessarily a bad story trope, is it?
It's not. It's by no means a bad thing, but it does mean your villain, in a lot of cases, will be forgettable.
Yeah, but to have that work, I feel like you need a double agent almost. You know, you need a villain, and then you need a villain's double agent, don't you?
Yeah.
To have that work, and then you have the great villain and the great betrayal. I feel like that works more than just having the villain be the double agent, and that's it. You know.
I mean, I do quite like. So there is the thing in Frozen about, like, oh, of course, you shouldn't marry someone you've barely known. And then, of course,
I do want to talk about that quickly after your point as well.
Okay,
I've got something to say about that.
Sure. I was going to say, because, like, that in itself is, like, a fine little turning on its head. Like, I don't mind that as a thing. It does mean the villain's weak. But I like the idea of it. But, like, I don't think you've seen Zootopia, have you?
No, I haven't, no.
But, like, in Zootopia... Okay, so without spoiling, Zootopia, it's a twist villain again.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that kind of through line as to why it would be a twist. It's basically for the sake of having a twist. And to make the twist work, they like choose a character who's deliberately in the background and no one ever notices or pays attention to. So it's like, oh wow, it was them. We would never have suspected them. It's like, yes, I also don't really care about them, don't know masses about them. They're just like, they don't strike fear into my heart. Like, it's...
Yeah.
If you're going to do a twist, at least do it with like a character who's like really there, like do one of the main central characters kind of thing.
I mean, and to be fair, that is what Frozen does.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like Frozen is, even though it's got a twist in it, it's sort of doing it in a way that sort of works, just not brilliantly. I don't know. It's not
also, I just feel like, again, I just cannot remember his name, but he's not, even at the end. Hans? Maybe?
So it's a good guess.
Sure.
I'm sure there's one character called Hans in there.
Yeah,
I don't know which one.
Even when he does reveal him like self, it's like, okay, he's not. Just doesn't feel evil. You know, at no point is he like, obviously he's trying to kill them, but it's like, okay. Whereas if you compare that to, say, Tangled, well, what I was going to compare it to was Aladdin. If you look at Jafar, who was so undeniably evil throughout, you know, such a brilliantly dastardly villain.
Not to mention with Jafar, because he's sort of, he could be a twist villain, because he's like, you know, the king's vizier, isn't he?
Yeah.
But like, because we see it as the audience, we've got the dramatic irony that we've seen him and know he's the villain, and we see him like trying to twist the king.
Yeah.
And that works nicely. And sort of, it can still be, well, it's not really a twist to the audience, but it's a twist to the characters, maybe.
Yeah.
But if you want to meet it halfway, that can work, yeah.
Which is, again, this is a strange comparison. That's something that Hannibal does incredibly well. You know, like I was saying last week, like, that dramatic irony of we know they're the villain, and the joy from watching them comes from watching them manipulate the good guys.